Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lowe, JT, and friends. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lowe, JT, and friends.
Lisa, Lowe, JT, and friends. Y'all ready to cook up some conversation? Come on.
Kitchen talk.
Let's talk.
Hey.
Howdy.
How y'all doing?
We back another week.
Another week. Kitchen Talk CTC.
Conversations that cook.
And that's what they do.
Yes.
I'm super excited. So let me say this. We are sending light and love to JT during this time. So those who know the power of prayer and positive energy, if you would just speak his name during for him and his family during this time. So we will miss him again this week and look forward to him joining us next week and bringing the funny back. Although, you know what, friends, we've been kind of holding it down a little bit.
I would agree. I would agree.
We were kind of holding it down a little bit. So here we are, another Thursday night, 9:00 for Kitchen Talk. I am so excited. So tonight we are celebrating, acknowledging, talking about all of that good stuff. The act of fathering. So that is my little theatrical drama title.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I'm a writer, right? I couldn't just say we celebrate fatherhood.
Nah, we got to go deeper than that.
We got to do more than that. Y'all know how I do. So tonight, joining France and I in the kitchen is my wonderful big little brother. And I always called him that because I am 5 feet tall. He is 6'4", but he is my younger brother.
Oh, okay.
That's why I call him that. So, you know, they say, and I always say this whenever I talk about him, they say you can't choose your family. Mm-hmm. And this is so not true because our parents decided to get married. And then we decided to be brother and sister. I don't know whether it happened overnight, but somewhere down the road, we fell in love with each other like brother and sister. And when I tell you this dude right here, this is my dude. Like,
hands down.
Yeah. So you can't talk about him to me, and you can't talk about me to him.
Nope.
And so when the world say, "Oh, that's your stepsister," or that's my brother, that's my sister. That's how we do. So welcome, Christopher Horne. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Excited to be on the show. I've always been on the receiving end of the broadcast through YouTube and watching the streaming. So it's always interesting to now be on the program. So
yes, you are in the broadcast room. How about
You're
that?
in the kitchen. You're in the kitchen.
Yeah. And thank you for being in your kitchen.
Thank you. This is decorations by my lovely wife and all that. You know, I still just recently learned to match dark navy blue and black socks away from each other. So anything that looks good is certainly her.
I'm laughing because my cousin was here for the week, and we were just kind of talking about marriage and, you know, relationships, and, you know, his wife's still doing a lot of the things for him.
Yeah, I mean, I try to do some things to assert some equality here. I do the laundry. She's the better cook. The stands. I can't get her outside. The yard work, no, that's going to be me no matter what.
Right.
But she does
As
a
it
lot.
should be.
It's not
Yeah.
that hard.
But that's not our show tonight. That's not our show tonight.
That's not our show. But it's definitely a partnership where we both bring everything, and it's working, and I'm excited. It's a lot of fun.
I think it is still a part of our show because fatherhood is that connection with the mother.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So it is a teamwork type of thing, and
Sure.
we're gonna dive in some deep questions. I know Lisa's gonna hit you up first, but
Okay.
I think that this discussion tonight is really gonna bring to light, what it means to be a father.
Right.
All stages.
Right. So we also have joining us, I call him. This is my EP. We have the EP with us tonight. That's what I call him. Other people call him Reverend Danny Whitfield.
I call him brother. So.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I will not complain.
Good. So let's ask this question because we've been talking about this for a few months now. Who's been vaccinated? I got my first shot last Monday.
Last Monday.
Congratulations.
You got some good more weeks before
it was
the
a journey.
shot. Yeah.
It was a journey. Yeah, it was a journey, but I did go, and I did not go alone. I took 3 other people with me.
Amen. Proud of you with that.
Yeah. So, it was.
We had to walk her through, but she made it, and I'm happy that she did.
Amen.
She's gonna have a support. The same support system is gonna guide her for the second one. I think they're more excited for you to get the second one.
The second one's going to be the storyteller. Go ahead and start taking Tylenol like 2 nights before.
That's right.
And go ahead and that day
I
after.
have heard that so many times. So I just said that to Alisa today. I was like, look, we're going to start drinking juice, vitamin C, getting us some vitamin C.
A lot of water.
Take a round plenty of water. I was like, we ain't starting the day before. We starting a few days before. So we could be all right.
Get the shot on Friday. Don't get it on Wednesday and think you're going to do the show. Just
Friday.
No, I'm going back on Monday because if I'm going to be sick getting this shot, it's going to be during work people time, not my time.
Wow.
Hey, listen.
You ain't gonna do this on my weekend.
I agree with that. And that's most employers should be pushing their staff and people to get the shot, even if it means they're gonna lose a few days. But you want your people to be healthy, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, but the lawyers have gotten into it, and there still hasn't been a consensus on whether or not you can get rid of the liability of somebody gets the shot and then it triggers some kind of health cause and that liability. But at the same time, there's still, I know Rutgers mandated that anybody coming on campus in the fall has to be vaccinated. And I think there's at least 3 different trials making its way through the courts on whether or not that was constitutional. You have the standard of the schools where, to start kindergarten, you got to have measles, mumps, rubella, whooping cough, and all those other vaccines.
That's right.
They'll say, well, all those vaccines went through 5-10 years of trials.
Correct.
For emergency use authorization only, not full approval. So does that make a difference?
Yeah.
So,
it's something working in the healthcare industry where I am in the hospital. You still have nurses who refuse to take it.
Yeah.
And we're working with patients every day.
Yeah.
That's a sad commentary for me.
It is, but I mean, honestly, it is something that you really have to be ready for. It's not the shot itself. That wasn't what I was tripping. It's just, it was just all of the unknown. The unknown about the virus,
Yeah.
that we still don't know, the unknown and the seeming to be quickness of the vaccine. You know,
Yeah. That's been the major thing with most people.
yeah,
They got it too. It came too quick.
yeah. It's just the unknown.
Yeah.
It's the unknown that gets everybody. So hey, we done got way. See, this is what friends do to me. He just take us way off topic. I asked the question right, didn't I?
I was waiting. Good transition for you, though. Hey, Ro,
Hey,
I got a good transition for you.
here we go.
The unknown of fatherhood.
The
unknown. Both of you are fathers, right?
Yeah.
What did that feel like before you had, your first child, and it was the unknown? This is you're bringing your first child into the world. What was that like? What was on your mindset like during that first child?
First thing you think about is, after seeing so many father figures, what do I bring to the table with this life that I'm bringing to the world? Am I going to be able to be that father that I need to be?
Yeah.
Seeing so many other examples around me. Now I'm faced with, here's a life coming into being.
Yeah.
What am I going to be like? Am I going to be the right kind of father? Or am I going to be that father that's just present but has no hands-on with this life that I'm going to bring into being?
Okay.
Because you can father a child and not be a father.
Come on.
There it is.
That was Maynard Jackson, frat brother of mine, first convention, fraternity convention I went to. He said something profound. And it was a time where brothers were just having babies just to have babies.
Yep.
But his statement at that convention was this: any man can have a baby, but it takes a real man to take care of one.
That's right. That's right.
And when he said that hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to do what you need to do in order to be the father that you need to be. So I came up in a fatherless home. I had to take my examples from those whom I saw.
Yes.
And take that and conform that to what I thought daddy ought to be.
Yeah.
And work that.
Well, and I think too, just so not having your literal example in the house, you didn't take that and just say, well, I don't know how to do that, so I ain't gonna do it. You actually went the polar opposite and was like, you know what? I know I didn't like it, so let me correct it on my end.
Absolutely.
And in essence, in some ways, maybe even broke kind of a generational curse in that aspect.
Absolutely, because there were examples that I saw, and not all of them were good. Not all of them were good, but I saw some good examples that I could sit in the homes of friends and watch the relationship that was going on between the kids and their dad, and I said, okay, that's good. You have to sit sometimes and decipher what's good, hold on to, what doesn't get good to you, throw it out.
Right.
Throw it out. Yeah.
Chris, what about you?
Well,
First day being a father.
I'm unique not unique, but certainly each of my opportunities to be a father came with a choice. So that I have no biological children of my own. However, when I married, was it 3 years ago? Gained 2 children. with nieces, nephews, godsons, goddaughters. I've never lacked for the opportunity to parent or give back.
Right.
Volunteering, work at the church. I've always been, I guess, fairly good with kids. And even to, Reverend Danny's point about the examples. I grew up, my mother and my father weren't in the same household, but my father was very active. I had uncles, I had grandparents. I mean, I had a village up and down I-10 that raised me. So I knew how to take care of, how to be taken care of and what that looked like. And in turn, as I grew up, matriculated, went through fam and everything, I did not lack for role models. And I recognize the blessing that comes with, in the church, out of church. I mean, there are so many examples of people trying to do right and to make a difference with people. Yeah. So it was, I won't say easy, but it was clear this is the example.
Yes.
Blessed, this is what I should do to continue forward.
Yeah.
Now, all of my parenting hasn't been great. I can talk about taking my niece to Governor Square Mall in a little stroller. Yes, I'm giving my sister help in a break. No, she was cute and she picked up girls. I mean, hey, it worked.
Listen, you didn't even have to finish, and I knew where you were going with that.
This guy right here, when I tell you, Alisa probably was, I don't even think she was a year, she might have been a year old. And he just, every year he needed a picture. You need to update it. I'm like, dude, really? That's what you're doing?
Help me show my sensitive side. And it worked well. It worked very well because she was so friendly. She just reach her hands up and all that stuff. So she was one of those, even when she was walking around, she didn't walk that fast. It wasn't like she ran off. Yeah. But put in front of the right store, she'd run up to the right girl, and it worked well for a few years there. So she was a key component. But again, that part of helping and participating and supporting, I won't say came second nature, but it was what I was always around. Yeah. So when it became my opportunity to do things and to contribute, to be a father in whatever way I can, hey, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Absolutely. And step right in. So, friends, just before you say that, let me just take a minute to acknowledge our guests that are watching. We appreciate you guys for watching. We have a first-time viewer, Mr. Bruce. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
That's my frat brother.
See, friends know everybody. He knows everybody. Evan Rowe is watching. Appreciate you, honey. Alisa is on. So she was like, hey, EP. Hey, Mr. Friends. Hey, Uncle Flo. So, so thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. And we're getting into the act of fathering. Wow. So, Friends, you were going to say?
It's the father figure. That piece, just being the father and raising your kids, but then also helping to raise the community. I had my dad, got to give a shout out to him. Amazing man. He did a phenomenal job raising not just the four of us, but also being very active in our church, very active in our community. He was called a disciplinarian. So anytime my aunts or our uncle, anytime they had a problem with somebody, they would call him and he would come and straighten things out. Sometimes it's just with a simple conversation that nobody else had to know about. And sometimes it took a little bit of
a little more persuasion.
So, I really want to talk about that. And Lisa, you could chime in on this because I want to know the importance of, having that father figure. And also for both of you being that father figure, not just to your kids, but outside of your, immediate family.
Sure. So here's my little chime in for that. Having a father figure. So My parents divorced when we were really, really young, and my biological father was not very active. And my parents dated, and I call them my parents because that's what they are. They dated for a number of years before they even got married, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the dating process, this man just stepped in and he was like the father, or I remember being little, maybe about seven. And I called him on the phone one day and I proposed parenthood to him.
Wow. Wow.
I was like, can I call you daddy? And he was
Wow.
like, you absolutely can.
Yeah.
And then, maybe a little while before then, his mother, we proposed grandparenthood to her. We
Oh,
were
wow.
like, can we
Wow.
call you grandma? And she was
Right.
like, absolutely. We were staying with this lady, living with her.
Right.
No, when I say no blood between us,
Yes.
but you could not tell her or him or anybody
Right.
that the only way people knew is that our names were different.
Right.
And in growing up, it still was a lot of people that didn't know that was not my dad. That's just how well he treated me.
Yeah.
He treated us.
Mhm.
And vice versa with my mom, with Chris. So by the time we all came to literally live together, we were all brother, sister, mama, daddy, and that was just it. The only way you knew is if my whole name got called.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you knew my name was different.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you would be like, oh, because I've had people ask me in my adulthood, when did you get married? Because my
Mhm.
name's not Kelly.
Yeah.
I'm like, I haven't. Don't put that out there. But yeah. So
I have truly, God has really blessed me
Mhm.
being in the school system for 35 years.
Yes, Wow. sir.
I had an opportunity to be dad
absolutely.
to hundreds of kids.
Yeah.
So those kids came into my classroom,
Mhm.
and I was not a father yet, but those kids came into my classroom, and I saw the need,
Mhm.
because there were many times single parent homes, or that dad was just not active in their lives.
Right.
And they would come up to me and ask me, will you be my daddy?
Wow.
Mm.
And I would proudly say, sure.
Yep.
And so as when my kids came along, and as they started going to school functions with me or coming to support me, and they would hear kids say, hey daddy, and my kids would say, why are they calling you daddy? I said they are all my kids, and even to this day, to see those kids now having children themselves,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is
trying to show them
Yeah.
that this is what a daddy does.
Yeah.
This is how a daddy helps to nurture.
Mhm.
And many times as educators, you have to validate children,
Yes.
absolutely.
especially when I got with my girls and I watched them with guys.
Yes.
And I
Mhm.
said, remember, you are a special young lady.
Right.
Right. Right.
Handle yourself accordingly.
Absolutely.
Correct.
When that joker come at you, give him some boundaries and say, you do not bypass that boundary, or
Right.
you're going to have to answer to my daddy.
Right. I love it.
Before you go, I gotta give it to Brother Whitfield, because I work with him, and watching him do what he was doing, watching him, work the system, talk to the kids. It wasn't, that I'm the administrator and I'm up here, but I can get down here. How can I help you today? How can I be of service to you today? You got to give it to the educators, as all of you know. I'm been in the field, working the field, and today one of my parents bought me her phone, and she had one of my babies on the phone who is about to graduate from the nursing program.
Wow.
And I'm like, you know, I always get, so I was already having a good day.
Right.
Yeah.
That just took me over the moon to see, you know, the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Watching my kids when I first moved to Tallahassee, that they have kids now, that their parents now, that they're buying homes, that they're trying to do the best and the right thing by their kids. I mean, that's going to go to my next question. So Chris, go ahead, man.
I mean, going back to the whole example that I've been able to step in and, you know, be Uncle Daddy to my niece and to so many other people, and even at church where, you know, they've asked, hey, you know, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? I mean, as much of it is about just a desire to help and a desire to serve as it is, you know, just realizing being touched by being part of people's lives, being part of people's experiences, and, you know, enjoying. I've had fun.
Yes.
You know, I remember, you know, talking with my niece about, you know, got boys, and I always had this because my niece is, what's at least, 5'2", 5'3".
Real
and
cute.
so just, you know, just out of fun, 9th grade, I'm like, hey, why don't you go with your uncle down to Miami for spring break? And she's a freshman in high school, and she thought this was going to be the coolest thing ever, and she was going to run amok and meet all these guys and stuff. Not realizing you got a 6'4", 300-pound man standing right beside you
No
with
guys
a
coming.
towel on his face. You can look as cute as you think you want to, but the breeze blowing by you, as these guys are like, they don't even see you.
Right.
They just see the shadow over you. And she complains about not wondering why she didn't get any attention. I'm like, baby, I don't know. Just, you know, just out here having a good time. You know, for her to understand that, you know, she thought as me being me, no, you're special. You know, if they can't see the, you know, the value of you to come up and say something to me.
Right.
The best for all of us if they just keep moving.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
So to your point, Reverend, about that whole that you're special and there are boundaries. Some boundaries she can set, and some boundaries I'll be more than happy to cast a shadow to help frame what that looks like.
That's right.
And that's in sisterhood too.
Oh, yeah.
Although when we out together, I'll be like, hey, brother. Don't get it twisted.
Right. Lisa's more than capable of caring for herself. I just need to just be there to move stuff around and you know, reach high cabinets.
Exactly. And drive me across the country.
Oh, that was a blast. And that little, what was it, Chevrolet Cruze or something?
It was a Chevy Cruze, yeah.
Complex. She loaded up to the hilt. Man,
it was something. It was something. Let's take this question from Evan Rose. So she said, is there a difference between being a father and being a daddy, or are the terms interchangeable? I would say it depends on how you view it. Like, I think daddy is like an affectionate term. Like, I don't call my father. So I would call, when my biological father, we tried to develop, we had like a small relationship. I would call him father. But I would call what the world would say stepdad, I would call him daddy. So it was almost, I still call him daddy, and I'm grown. I'm 50 now, but I still say daddy. So it's almost like this kind of term of endearment. But it depends on how you see it, because father is so weighty and important. So you couldn't say that. So what do y'all think?
That father is that, I guess that term that describes who you are and what you do and what are some of the things that you're gonna put in place. But that daddy is that affectionate side, that personal side. That when I'm down in the dumps, when I hear the word daddy, that means I want something. or there is something that I'm in that I need you to really help me in. So they can be interchangeable, but the father side is all those things that come with fatherhood, and but that daddy side is when you hear that daddy, when that baby,
it pull on your heartstrings.
oh my God, it'll take you out. You know, when you hear that daddy, especially with a crying voice, and they're crying out for you, you move hurriedly to get to that place to do whatever you need to do to bring comfort to that child.
Yeah.
You know, it's preachers. This what happen when you have preacher friends. There's preachers on this show. Preachers on. I guess you just attract what you are sometimes too. I understand. I understand. So basically, here go Ro. I love her. So father is a position, daddy is the purpose. Wow.
That's good.
That's real good. That's real good.
Mr. Bruce said, daddy is the password. He corrected it. It's his. Daddy is the password. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Sometimes that word daddy can get them what they want.
Yeah. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris? Because I have my I mean, but I'm not a dad yet, but I'm going to tell you the difference on my end.
I mean, again, the Reverend Danny, the whole thing around the father's, the position, the framework, the kind of the expectations. And I believe that, and daddy has that more affectionate, loving tone. And certainly there have been a number of people in my life that have been a father, have been a disciplinarian, have been hey, I need to, pull you to the side and talk to you about some things and guide you on the right path or away from a different direction. And I've had more of those conversations, with men that weren't biologically my father. And then, yes, I have a dad, and, I have a number of uncles that I've, affectionately have been there and, played jokes and taken me places and shown me things and taught me how to do stuff. So certainly I think, in the best case scenario, you have both relationships with multiple people, i.e. the village, because there's going to be different people you need that help with or that help from a, an older gentleman that, even a younger gentleman in the right circumstance, because you can learn from almost anybody that wants to help and wants to participate, again, that wanting. Certainly that, father conveys more of the formal effort and time, but daddy, that's because you care.
Yes.
And you can be in the child's life because you care in a number of different ways and have that daddy role. Works with the wife.
Mr. Bruce, this show is at nighttime, but it's not an after dark show.
No, Mr. Bruce got it right though, because that's what we said earlier, right? It is a partnership.
It is
definitely a partnership.
Absolutely.
For me, the father is the responsibility. When you say father, that's the buck stops here, right? Father takes care of the business. Father fixes the problems. Father brings in, a whole lot of weight to it. The daddy part is, beyond just being the father, it's the daddy, right? To help out with the things that the emotional side, the things that we don't really talk about all the time, like the bedtime stories and just the little things that we might miss. That to me is the daddy part. My dad cringed the day we stopped calling him daddy and we called him dad. He's like, no, I want you to still call me daddy, but
is that a boy thing?
I don't know. I think all of us kind of came to a consensus that we wanted to start calling him dad, right? And he's like, nah.
I'm not really using a Y at the end of any man unless it's part of his formal first name, Reverend Danny, for example. Right. But daddy,
it's a boy thing.
Because old man, OG, any number of terms, but daddy, man, no.
Yeah, it's dad. I prefer the boys to call me dad. Girls, daddy.
Right.
Yeah.
So I asked you these questions because there's a piece that I was looking at in terms of the absence of the Black father.
Woo, boy.
Right? Like the Black father doesn't exist. And I wanted to frame it in both ways, not just the fathers who brought, you know, life into this world, who helped brought life into this world, but also the father figures like myself. I don't have any kids, but we're still in the game. We're still trying to help and change lives and motivate and mold the next generation.
Yes.
And there's a narrative that's being put out that the Black father does not exist. And more importantly, they're trying to wipe out the Black father in the equation when it comes to the Black family. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think one that, you know, there is a numerical difference in that as African Americans are a much higher percentage of the prison population, and it's simply difficult to be in a parenting role when you are incarcerated. So I, you know, one, acknowledge that. Two, you know, community, we don't come together as a community as much as we used to. Our churches aren't as full, we aren't as active, we are so attached to our phones instead of attached to each other or attached to, you know, God. So certainly that's an aspect. With that said, I believe that, you know, if you are willing to participate, most people, there are father figures out there. Mm-hmm. You may not have your father biologically, but there's somebody that, you know, can be involved that God can use to provide much of those things. And shouts out to the women who flat out make it happen day in and day out for their children. They have to play both roles because there's no plan B. There's no safety net. Either she does it or it doesn't get done. But I think that narrative of, you know, absent Black father, I think is overplayed. I think it is part of a media plan to, you know, denigrate the Black family, because if the Black father isn't there, then how does the Black male measure himself? You know, do you use a rapper? Do you use a basketball player? You know, these unattainable goals, unless you just have this out of this world talent. But for the other 99% who aren't going to make it as an artist or make it as an athlete, what do? You know, what have you seen somebody that has a regular job that you can look, touch, feel, and say, okay, this person is X, you know, so I can be X as well. And so I think that's the challenge of, you know, fortunately in this country, where you do have too many instances where, you know, the images of a family is a white man, some woman, and some kids. But when it's a Black woman with Black kids, it's just the woman and the kids. And that's not accidental. Not by any stretch of the imagination. But I don't believe that the Black father is truly absent. There is an imbalance in places because of the, you know, the nature of this country and the war against Black, you know, African Americans for millennia. I mean, not millennia, hundreds of years now. Right. That is taking its toll. But I still, you know, God provides, you know. Flowers grow up through cracks in the sidewalk.
That's right.
So I don't, it's not true, but there is definitely a war against Black fatherhood in an effort to continue to try and take down African Americans as a whole.
Well, I think it too stems, I mean, even back from slavery. So you didn't have family, or you just had the women and the children, and they breeded us, and then they sent the men away. You know, they couldn't marry. They couldn't form this thing called family.
That's right.
Which is totally opposite of where they brought us from. Where they brought us from was family and community.
That's
but
right.
you just over here and you destroy that, and then you have to perpetuate and keep that going. So in the programming of media, you continue to do this. And it's interesting that you say it, because I remember an interview with what is her name? The mom from Good Times.
Florida Evans?
That's her stage name.
Esther Rowe.
Yeah.
And the producer, I can't think of his name.
Lear?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she refused to do the show without a father in the house. I'm fine with you saying we're going to be in the ghetto and we may never get out. Okay, whatever. But she refused to do the show without a father in the house.
Yeah.
And so you still had that kind of, in that way, kind of protest, like, don't keep saying that. We have fathers, like you were saying, Chris. We have fathers. We have more fathers than we don't have fathers. We have more mentors and more father figures than we don't have.
Correct.
But you keep pushing this thing about the black men not being there. So you're assassinating us, not only literally George Floyd, but you're assassinating our characters. Our black men, our characters, our black women. So whatever narrative and story you can continue to push, then you will try to do that. But look at this. We standing up right here. This is where we are. This is who we are. This is, if I don't say nothing else tonight, this is why I do kitchen talk. So that we have some good black men around this world.
Yes.
And so
around this world, because my brother did not have to step in with my niece.
Yeah.
And that's not to say her father wasn't there, but he took such an active role with her.
That's right.
He didn't have to do that.
That's right.
He has goddaughters. He doesn't have to do that. He has godsons. He doesn't have to do that. You have men like Fransley Moise.
Yeah.
He don't have to do that. He can live his life. He's single and free.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have men like the EP who participates in the act of fathering every day with students, with with all, and not even students. Let's take it to the church. He pastors. When you pastor and pastor well, that is the act of fathering.
That's right. That's right.
And it's when I look at the church, everything that we do, how we work, it has to go outside those four walls.
Absolutely.
Right.
So their intent was to destroy us by saying there is an absence.
Correct.
Absolutely.
But we have to develop the mentality that each one will reach one.
Correct.
When we see the need, when God gives us the discernment to say that young man right there needs somebody.
Absolutely.
To give direction to. Mom is struggling. She's trying to make it, and she needs that she knows that boy needs direction. I can't give it. But we as brothers, they may not be our children.
Right.
But our heart says to us, we can't lose another generation.
Absolutely.
We have to go to work and save. Guess what? We may not be able to save all of them.
Correct.
But we're going to make the attempt.
Absolutely.
To reach as many as we can. And guess what? That example will give that young man who we're pulling over to say to them, somebody did it for me.
Let
I gotta
me do
pass
it.
it on.
Absolutely.
I'm that person. Yep.
Absolutely.
It keeps going. And they can say all they wanted, that we're dysfunctional. No, we're not dysfunctional, baby. We're not dysfunctional. We got it together.
I love what Bruce said, man. We should see ourselves when we see them. And that's essentially what it is. That's going to go to my next question, which is the future of fatherhood, right? But I have to say that it's important that we have to break the narrative, right? And I think the other thing is that people don't see what you all are doing. It's not just being the father in my own home.
Right.
Yes.
You're a coach. You're a reverend. You're a godfather. I'm a godfather. I have a godson who's getting ready to graduate very soon from Florida A&M University. That's my first. I have goddaughters. I actually have 3 godsons, 2 goddaughters. They just keep giving to me. You know what I mean? So we got to be actively engaged in the process, being role models. I think that is what's not shared. The black man goes above and beyond what it means to be a father figure.
Absolutely.
Just a dad, right? You're helping where you see that there needs help. Just like Brother Whitfield just stated, you're doing more. And I think our society definitely does not want that light to shine on there. But I'm gonna tell you, man, we've been doing such a great job. You can't, but not, and I know that's wrong.
It's
You
all right.
cannot let that light not shine.
Right.
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes,
so
sir.
bright. When I just think about the brothers that I know that they're holding multiple roles. It's not just dad to my kids. It's
Right.
I do a mentoring program. I'm working with this kid. I got nieces, nephews. You know, Chris, you said it again. Even before we started, this is the stuff I was thinking about. And when the more you talk, the more I was like, yep, you proving my point. You proving my point.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's also too, if you think about it, and I think we said this earlier, just because you're making a baby doesn't mean that you're a father.
Right.
And then how can a 17-year-old, they ain't even grown up themselves, and I said grown up. How are they fathering? You know, and so it is up to the village
That's
to
right.
step in.
That's right. That's right.
And not just say, oh, that was them, they did that, let them figure it out. No, it is really up to the village to step in. Even the women most times have to do it, because the child comes out of them, that unless they put it up for adoption, it's gonna stay with them. You know what I mean? The child is gonna stay with them. The father can be this place, that place, and the other. But it is up to the village, and not just up to the village to help take care of that child, but up to the village to take that young man to the side and say, look, you got to man up.
That's right. That's right.
So that's that. I'm going to hold my last question to really bring this question, because you made a valid point. And Brother Whitfield and Chris, I think this will be a good one for you. As a young father, how was it important to have other father figures help you through that process while you're a dad, right? So having that village help you to become a stronger father. How important was that piece?
For me, early, especially early in marriage, my dad was not present. So I did not have anything to follow. It was people in the church that I kept my focus on. I watched how they cared for their children, how those boundaries were set, how principles were set, that we do this way.
Right.
And so I gleaned from what I saw. And I wanted to make sure that my kids knew that dad was present. And that since I'm present, I'm going to make sure you're not going to get everything you want, but I'll make sure that there are some goals and some guidelines set for you, especially for a boy. That you watch me, because our young men, our sons, have their eyes on us, and they watch what we do.
Absolutely.
Right? So we have to be great examples,
right?
So they can know, that don't feel right there.
Right.
Let's not go there. But they saw something in you. My late son, he said something to me profoundly. When we talk about marriage, and we got to get our boys ready to take on a wife.
Yes.
In order to take on a wife, they got to know how to treat a wife.
That's right. That's right.
And so one question my son and my daughter, they asked me this: why is it that all of the years y'all been married, all the years we've been in the house, we never saw you all argue?
I was just saying that to a group of friends of mine. My parents did a great job.
Yeah.
But I never saw them like, I knew they were upset.
Yeah.
But I never saw them argue.
So I said, yes, we do.
Yeah.
Guess what? It's never in your presence.
Correct.
It's when those doors are closed.
Right. And
we have an opportunity to share what we agree and disagree with. And guess what? Every time we step out with you or to you, you're going to know that there is a united front.
Right.
because we are example setters. This village mentality has to come back. I remember coming up as a baby boom in the early days, the whole community took care of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Your demeanor, how you acted, how you conducted yourself in that community, you were accountable.
Right.
Not just to your daddy, but all them other daddies in that community who saw you.
And that's what I was really getting at, where fathers are helping fathers, right? Fathers are pushing fathers to take it to the next level. Fathers are encouraging each other, right? When times get tough, because as you stated, it's not always easy. But you need that village, if you want to call it a village or team or a group of people to help you through. What do you think, Chris?
Well, I mean, I had examples. I mean, my father reached out and, cared for Lisa when she was very young. I had uncles. Proud father Bernard Moon Kelly, and anywhere in Tallahassee, they looked at me and were like, "You Moon boy?"
Yes, God.
So I didn't have too much opportunity to act too crazy
No.
because somebody knew Moon, or
Right.
somebody knew somebody knew somebody.
Right.
So it's like it wasn't gonna be too far. I could go stray before somebody said something to someone.
Absolutely.
So that I come from growing up in the village, and so now I'm participating as part of that village. And I lived 15 years in DC and was happy to say, hey, if you ever come up north, I'm that relative up north.
Yeah.
Some families have it. Hey, if you get anywhere near New York, DC, Philly, Boston, whatever you need, I can be there and I can help to do that. I had a cousin that graduated from Florida and went to Howard Medical School.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it wasn't a question where she was going to stay.
Right.
It was a matter of, okay, how do we make these 4 years work?
Right.
And that was a great opportunity for me to give back because her mom and dad, my uncle and aunt, did so much to raise me when I was young.
Yeah.
So absolutely, so I can't say that, it was just the father. I'm a product of the village and a proud product to participate in it now and to give back where I can and when I can and however I can. And so for me, that example of being there, being present and making an effort. I always tell, my son about effort, trying, if you're not going to try, then why even bother? If you are going to do something, do it, do it honestly, and do it authentically. I mean, I'm proud of the fact that we're getting to a point where we can tell children to pursue their passion.
Yeah.
You got to go to college because you got to make money.
Yeah.
You got to get a job.
Get a passion and you'll be successful, whatever that is. My son's passion is football. Okay, there's no major in football in college, but if that's going to get you to keep your grades up, and if that's going to get you to finish your undergraduate degree, and that's your passion, man, whatever you feel, whatever will get you up at 6 a.m.
Right.
Getting up 6 a.m, 5 a.m. is hard. And if you find something that will get you up, go after it as hard as you can. You got my full support. You got whatever resources we need to help you go somewhere to get moving. Absolutely. And that to me is, part of that fathering, that helping somebody get somewhere. Certainly it's hard to steer a moving vehicle. I mean, it's hard to steer a parked car. You got to be moving for us to be able to leverage anything else. So what I can do, hey, pick some direction, move that direction, and we'll help you get some momentum to leverage where you're going.
So Mr. Bruce is throwing out jobs, careers for football. I see you, Mr. Bruce.
I like where Bruce is going.
Right.
And you know what? It goes to what you said, Chris, right? You got to be moving. So you might move into player, and then from player, you move into coach, and from coach, you move into, management. From management, you move into owning the team. So we got I think that's the other role of a father, is to provide that guidance too, right? To help make that vision clear and to say, hey, let's move. Let's get it.
Yeah. Let me ask this question.
Go ahead, Lisa.
it a difference between raising a boy and raising a girl? Or do you love them all the same? I've heard that all. I'm like, you cannot love all your
You
children
love them
exactly
differently.
the same.
You have to love them differently because they're different people. You know,
That's
they're
right.
different spirits endowed by the Creator with different talents. They're each going to try you in different ways.
Yes, sir.
My daughter, I love her dearly, but there's unique things about her, and it's just like, okay, you got way too much energy. Come on, just you know. And my son and I, you know, coming through high school, you know, you can kind of see him doing some things, but all right, let me just explain something to you right quick before your mama find out, you know, ... If you're going to do this, can you at least do this? You know, cover your tracks better. Don't make it easy.
And if anybody know how to cover tracks, oh, I'm sorry. Was I?
Don't think that I figured out how to catch a bus.
Wrong show, Lisa.
Around on Saturdays to get given more work. I'm gonna do my chores, and I'm getting out of Dodge.
Right. Yeah. It's different for both of them because you're trying to put something different in each one of them. My son he would try you. He would really try. He would take it to the limit. But with my daughter, all I had to do was show these big pop eyes one time. She was straight.
Yeah.
But what was different for them, my girls, I wanted to make sure that as a father, that I validated her.
Mm-hmm.
That I said to her, you are special. You don't take foolishness from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You make them respect you, and you are to be respected. Don't take no wooden nickels.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go to my son. You have to be responsible and know this. Your name means something.
Mm.
If you mess it up, many times you can't get it back.
Mm.
So whatever you do it with a level of excellence that it's going to speak of who you are. And then I gave them a Moses General Miles saying. He said this, when I was in college, it did not make any sense to me. If you can't be first,
yes, sir,
be head of whoever's second.
That's right.
Yeah.
You dropping them nuggets, Doc. You dropping them nuggets.
And it was that drove me.
Right.
Okay, I can't be first. How am I gonna be here whoever's second? But he was telling me, whatever you do, you give it your best.
Yeah.
And so as a father, those things we put in our children, that you gotta do it. You gotta do it. And especially when you say what's in a name,
Right.
you better know what your name, you better know what your name means.
Well, you know what? The other piece is who you represent, right? And you said a name right there, Moses General Miles. Brother Miles has passed on long time, but his name still resonates.
As soon as you say it, people know.
They know, and then they'll say, "Are you one of Miles' boys?" Right? Are you a Rattler boys? Are you one of Holmes boys? Are you one of this? So your name, it's not just really your name, but the reputation that you carry, right? So again, it goes back to that sense of community.
Yeah.
When it's like knowing that I represent this community.
Absolutely.
I represent this group of people. It's not just my family, but the people that I'm associated with, I represent them. And I think Lisa know this. I say it all the time to my young queens and to my young kings. Some people get mad at me for doing it, but I have to remind you how special you are, right? You are a king, you are a queen, and you represent somebody, right? Yeah. So it leads to my last question. I know we got 1 minute left, but the future of fatherhood.
Oh boy.
The future of fatherhood.
I'm excited about the future of fatherhood because there are people that still care. There's still a God above. And as long as there's a God, there will be hope, and there will be people that will see the good, will choose to see the good.
Yeah.
And shows like this, promoting positivity, each of our own interactions, touching other people to help bring light to the day of somebody that needed that light, or bring light to that person that, like you said, somebody brought you a phone of your godchild graduated from college. That takes a good day to great. We all have our struggles, but we all have more good days than bad days.
That's right.
As the old hymn says, I can't complain. Much of that is I choose not to. I could probably find some to complain about. But I got to look real hard, and I choose to focus on all the blessings and goodness that's all around me. And I believe the fatherhood will be good. There will be, more people that will take responsibility and participate in the raising of our children collectively. You talked about that village, and will be in, that encouragement to help more young men, when they get into that situation, choose to be more involved, and choose to be more interactive, and realize that, and be aware that the narrative they're hearing doesn't apply to them.
Yes.
The negative narrative doesn't apply to you. If you don't see the positive role model, you can be that positive role model.
Yes.
You want to say that you can't be the image you want and then give that image to other people.
Right.
So I'm excited about the future of fatherhood, especially Black fatherhood, because I know that there's a God that's going to allow, people to be there to help his children.
Right.
Yeah.
And I brought that up because, again, the images of the Black man and Black fathers is no. But then there's a lot of great images that people don't want to show. And it hurts because our young men and our young women, they need to see how bright that future could be, because they are the future, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be a part of it. But Dr. Whitfield, Reverend Whitfield, the future of fatherhood.
I think we're in a place now. If I go back to the scripture, as they came over into the promised land.
Yes.
Here's what we have to do. When they came over, they gathered stones from the middle of the Jordan, and they made a monument on the other side, such that when your children and your children's children come to that place, they ask that question, what meaneth these stones?
By these stones. Yes, sir.
Then you can say to them, there is a God who kept us.
Yes.
He kept us through slavery. He brought us through many dangers, toils, and snares, and he brought us to this place. But guess what? He said, I'll never leave you, nor will I forsake you. So guess what? It's looking bright.
Absolutely.
They may say it isn't, but it's bright.
Yep.
It's bright because we will continue to be the examples for them to see that we are the light that sit upon the hill that cannot be hid.
Yes, sir.
Every time we got an opportunity to shine, that light gonna shine.
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely. We know the truth.
Yes.
We know the truth, and it is definitely bright. So, EP, you are grandfather now, though, right?
Oh, listen.
Is it Paw Paw? What is it?
It's Paw Paw.
You're a Paw Paw now.
And listen, when I hear that, I melt.
Yep.
I melt.
Is it a different type of melt from daddy to Paw Paw?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a different. Let me tell you, it's a difference.
Yeah.
Hey, Daddy, you just empty the pockets. Paw Paw, you empty the bank account.
Paw Paw, you just say, I give up. Yeah, I just give up. I enjoy that. I got a junior in journalism up in FAMU's campus. Just to watch her be where she is, and I got a senior coming up in high school. I got two others down there in 5th and 3rd grade. Listen, they are the joy. They are the joy of my life. They're part of the lineage.
Yes.
And so it's my job as Paw Paw.
Man whose quiver is full of them.
Come on here. It's my job as Paw Paw to pour into them.
Yeah.
Pour into them. And like my brother said, Brother Chris said, that's a name that we got to hold up. That's a standard that we got to hold up.
Yep.
We got to do
This
that.
is awesome. Today's show.
Oh my goodness.
Man, I got to end with this one. Happy Father's Day, man.
Absolutely.
Brothers,
yes.
fathers and the father figures.
All the fathers. All the fathers, all the uncles, big brothers, godfathers, mentors, the black man, period, that's doing the thing right. I love it. And them that's not, let's grab them and pull them and make sure they get themselves together and man up. I love it. I love it. I love it. I feel like if I never do another kitchen talk, which I am going to do one next week.
You are going to.
This was definitely well worth it. I love you guys. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us, friends, in the kitchen tonight. Oh my goodness, this was such a great show. I feel like we need to have another, just not even on Father's Day, just another Father's show. I mean, it was some stuff we still could have dug into, you know?
Right.
But I know it's getting past my brother's bedtime.
Yeah, I'm starting to turn a little orange now. So it's getting close to that time.
Listen, we are super excited that you guys joined us. I can always count on the EP to come and hang out with me. Anything I need. And now that we getting a little bit lifted from this pandemic, we still got a youth project that we got to work on. So
that's it.
We'll definitely be getting that together. Listen, if you are watching us, before we do that, French, you had an announcement.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the nail with the youth project. A couple of shows we talked about what can we do for our students who, don't have anything to do for the summer. FAMU's Trio program, they have a phenomenal program ran by Mrs. Nance. Most people call her Ms. Z, but Ms. Nance is on it. They're doing some amazing things, getting our students ready with ACT, SAT prep, college readiness, getting them to understand what it takes to fill out their college application, and even just how to make decisions. I'm actually running my program, the Chess for Life program, through them as well this summer. And I've been doing this with her I was like 8 years, I think about 8 or 9 years.
Wow.
And right now they are actually going back to face-to-face. So they're doing all the precautions to making sure that students are safe. But this is something to get our kids, out of the streets and doing something positive. We're gonna put the link.
I put it in the chat already.
Perfect.
So the link is there. It's on Facebook and the YouTube chat. So you can click it, and then we'll also post it on our social media.
And the link is the application. So it's an online application. There's no fuss. You just fill it out, and if you have any problems, definitely reach out to them. They are there to help you. I mean, that's what fathers, that's what the community, that's what the village is about. We're trying to put our students, our kids in the best position to win. So definitely take full advantage of it. If you have any questions, again, reach out to her. She's definitely going to be willing to help.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes,
if you are watching us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
And that way you will get notifications when we are on, so you will never miss another great conversation. If you're watching us on Facebook, hit the like button. I think that does the same thing. Share, like, follow. Sharing is caring. So
Please and thank you.
Share, like, subscribe, follow, all of that. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us tonight. Great comments in the chat. We really appreciate it. Oh, hey, Marvin. Thank you.
We needed Dr. Scott on here too.
Yeah, for real.
I know. Honestly, I think we got to do this show again.
We got to do it again.
And we can't do it Father's Day 2022. We got to do it before then.
Yes. Yes.
So
That's
thank you all,
man.
thank you all, thank you all. My engineers, shout out to Jamal. He was on vacation tonight, and he usually holds us down. So hopefully I didn't do too bad of a job trying to work the background.
You did good. You did good.
Appreciate you guys so much. We're gonna see you next
Love
week.
ya.
Listen, next week I'm kicking the guys out the kitchen, and it'll be the ladies.
All
So
right.
you know, you guys are welcome to watch and, you know, ask us any questions that you want, but we're going to talk about the journey of the Black woman.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
know, it's going to be on and popping. I have a hospital administrator coming, somebody in the collegiate field, just a whole lot of good stuff coming, journalists coming. So it's going to be, and then I'm going to be there. So if you don't come and see anybody else, just come.
What else is there?
Right.
So yeah, so France and JT will be on vacate next
I
week.
might just try to pop in to give a male perspective.
He won't have the link, so he can only put it in.
Look at that. Already.
So again, happy Father's Day to all of our fathers, all of our mentors. We so all of our pastors, we so appreciate you all for everything that you contribute to our lives. And we pray God, I'm a Christian, so I'll go ahead and say this, and it is my show. We pray God's blessing over each and every one of you. I am not ashamed.
Amen.
So listen, y'all have a good night. Chris, sweet dreams.
Good night.
And we will see y'all next Thursday, 9 o'clock, right here. Come back and join us. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.